I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha-Rakah Quadash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and which taught us the truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, may you endure unto the end. Shalom Abba Babal. This is Psalm 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust. The name Yahweh is pertaining to the Father. Yahweh is the Father, Yahweh Shai is the Son. So it says of the Lord, all capitals, which would be the name of Yahweh. All right, which they give you a bad pronunciation of Yehovah, which there was no E and there was no V. All right, you can look that up. It's an easy Google search, but if you were to read that name right to left, it would be Yahweh. Yahweh. All right. That's the name of the Father. Yahweh exists. All right. It says in verse 3, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. The fowler is the Edomite, the so-called white race that is setting up a snare. And why does he have a snare? It's to persecute the Israelites. That's in 2nd Ezra 15. And not that one. Wisdom of Solomon 2. And this is dealing with the way the ungodly think. It says, yep, right here. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 12. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And that's why they were lying in wait. They're laying snares. And he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy. And that's why it's important that we speak about these laws. And it's to, one, to keep the guideline of what is right and wrong, but also it condemns the wicked because they do wrong. It says, and objected to our infamy, the transgressings of our education, which we teach you the true image of Yahweh Shai, and it condemns their lie, Jesus Christ. All right, Jesus Christ is a goddamn lie. It says he professeth to have the knowledge of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us even to behold. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that Yahweh is his father. All right. So the point's been made, these Edomites, the so-called Caucasians, the wicked that rule the world, they're trying to set up snares, which the ultimate snare is the implantable microchip, the mark of the beast, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling worldwide, which any Israelite that takes that will be condemned. All right. It says, verse 3, surely, Psalm 91 and 3, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence, which is going to be a plague that comes upon them that take that implantable microchip. He shall cover thee with his feathers, which chariots sit over our heads, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler, because these wings go into the scriptures, comforting us to the point of our salvation, of going up into the chariot. The Comforter comforts us all the way up until we're up in the chariot with Yahweh Shai. And the Comforter, it says, shall not leave us comfortless. It says in verse 5, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, right? So we don't have to fear nothing, because it is our power that is sending all these plagues. That's in 2 Ezra 15. And verse 4, for all the unfaithful Israelites shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So it's the Lord sending the plagues. So if you're walking in the way of the Lord, if you're in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, you don't have to be afraid. It says in Psalm 91, verse 6, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Which that word habitation means what? You're dwelling in it, in his name. It says habitation, a state or process of living in a particular place. A place in which to live, a house or home, right? Which it doesn't have to just be a house or a home, all right? Because it could also mean the body or the spirit, all right? It says, what does habitation mean in the Bible? In the Bible, habitation generally means to a dwelling place or abode, encompassing both physical and spiritual spaces. It can signify a place of residence, a place where someone lives, or a symbolic representation of Yahweh's presence through Yahweh Shai and dwelling with his people in what? Spirit. That spirit dwells upon these words which comfort us. I'll pull it out in the interlinear. All right. Thy habitation, my eye, none. Let me see. That's I got an alphabet here. Let me see. So let's see. So it's Ma. Let's see. So, yep. So my eye, and then it would be a wa. My eye, wa, and then the last one would be an N. So my eye, one, dwelling, habitation, refuge, lair, refuge of jackals, dwelling. It says, from the same as H5772, an abode of God, the tabernacle or the temple, men. See, it could represent the men where he dwells, right? Because he dwells amongst the men. Let me grab a... John 17 and 20. Right here in 23, it says, in John 17 and 23, which this would be red letter, Yahushua speaking, I in them and thou in me, which he's praying to the Father. So he's saying, I in them and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me and hast loved them as thou hast loved me. Which it tells you in Revelation 21 and 3. It says, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is with men. He will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them and be their power. See, so it's really talking about him dwelling with us by spirit. It says in Psalm 91 and 10, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways, which he prophesying about Yahushai. When Yahushai was tempted by Satan, right? Satan said, throw yourself off the pinnacle of the temple and the angel will come out because it has charge over you, and a chariot will deliver you, grab you and pick you up and beam you up, so that you don't hit the ground. Right? But this is also for all the elect, because we make up the body of Yahushai. It says, they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Once again, when Satan told Yahushai to jump off the pinnacle, he knew that Yahushai was protected because he came to do the will of the Father, which he wasn't going to die from jumping off a temple. He was going to be crucified, right, to justify the Israelites that believed in him. And then them 2/3 are going to perish in the lake of fire. They're going to die in fire and then come back as children through the loin of the elect. It says in verse 13, thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet, which we have the power to overcome these heathen, because he has set his love upon me, because we love Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's our passion. Therefore will I deliver him, I will set him on high, because he had known my name. And that's a beautiful point. You got camps out here like IUIC that's teaching a whole different name. But it just told you right here, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, which starting with Yahushai, but this also trickled down to the elect, because he had known my name. And who did Yahushai teach his name to? His men that were given to him, the Israelite men that believed in him. John 17 and 4, it says, I have glorified thee on the earth. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. So he wanted that body of being a God instead of being mortal. I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. All right? So that's going to be our love is set upon him. All right? Is because we love the word of Yahweh, because we could see Yahushai. All right? It says, I will set him on high because he had known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. You'll meet Yahweh Shai in the air. All right? When he returns, we're going to be changed. It says in a twinkling of an eye, 1 Corinthians 15 and it's like 50. It says 51. It says, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed." Talking about the Israelites, we're all going to be changed. Even the 2/3, but they got to go through that lake of fire so they can learn the truth by pain. But they're going to be changed coming through the elect. It says, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed," which we're going to be given new bodies, all right, and be able to travel into new places in the universe. All right, so I looked up how many planets have scientists discovered. It says in the AI overview, scientists have discovered over 5,900 exoplanets, planets outside our solar system in the Milky Way galaxy. This number includes confirmed planets and those that are still candidate detections requiring further confirmation, which there's even beyond what they can see. In addition to these, our own solar system has 8 recognized planets. Therefore, the total number of known planets is 5,900, right? Which, once again, there's way more than that, all right? And that's what Yahweh Shai told us. It says in John 14:1, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in Yahweh, believe also in me, Yahweh Shai, the Son of Yahweh. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." When you go into this word, many mansions, right? Mansions, the interlinear. The word there is mane. That's in the Greek. It says mino is the root word. It says to remain, abide, in reference to place, to sojourn, tarry, not to depart, to continue, to be present. So this is talking about us going into these other planets, all right? See, of persons to survive and live, in reference to state or condition, which we'll be able to live on these other planets because we'll have new bodies, which Monet, it says a staying, abiding, a dwelling, abode, to make one's abode, metaphor of Yahweh, our power, the Holy Spirit indwelling in believers. So it's talking about the body, how Yahweh dwells in believers through the Holy Spirit, which I read to you in John 17, Yahweh Shai is in us, and in Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. So he dwells in the Israelites that are believers through the Holy Spirit, which you could hear it, the word of Yahweh being spoken by his prophets in the spirit of prophecy, which is the spirit and testimony of Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abab abal.